Daboll got fired. Kafka's the new head coach. Shane is staying, and Jameis Winston is quarterback one. You guys, we have a lot to discuss. Let's get right into it. Welcome to the Empire State Sports Report. My name is Adrianna. I am your host. I'm also known as New York Giants fangirl on social media. The podcast is brought to you by Believe Network and FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel Sportsbook is the number one place to make all of your sports bets, whether it's NFL, MLB, college football, you name it. FanDuel has it. Download the app today and bet responsibly. Okay, we're going to start with Brian Daboll. Let's start with this. I was a little surprised that they did end up firing him first. And the only reason I say that is just because I know of all the reports and stuff like that, but the defense is the one who has blown consistently double-digit fourth quarter leads. So the logical thing, and I think a lot of our minds was, well, you fire Shane Bowen and see what Daboll and Marquette Manuel or Dre Patterson, whoever would be promoted, you go from there. Because 99% of the comments that I have seen on my videos are, why is Shane Bowen still here? This is my theory. They are keeping Shane Bowen because they believe that the players did not like Daboll and were not playing well under Daboll. And they thought that if they make a change at head coach, then maybe it will give the defensive players an opportunity to execute better. Now, from what I understand too, there were two other reasons. The first one was what John Mara said in his statement was that he believes that Joe Schoen has created a young core nucleus of players and believes that they are better than what we're seeing on Sundays. And I actually do agree with that for the most part. I do think this football team is significantly better than what we see on the fields week in and week out. And I know what Bill Parcells says. Your record is what you are, whatever. We know. I know. I get that. But I really believe that this defense is better and what we are seeing is garbage. So the thought process is you fire Bowen. But here's another thing that I think is part of this equation. And I just saw something from Jordan Renan that is going to back me up on this. And I hope that we see it first on Sunday. Brian Daboll always played scared to lose. He played scared. We know that, right? We saw it we've seen it 100 times with him, but we really saw it last week when they're on the goal line and instead of letting Russell Wilson hand it off or wildcat or do anything like that, they decide to kick a field goal for 3 points instead on the 1 yard line at the goal line. So there's been a lot of instances of that, right? Outside of the Titans game in 2022, that was the season opener where he goes for the 2-point conversion. We rarely have ever seen Brian Daboll be aggressive. I think that there is a belief in the building that Daboll was holding back the defense and that maybe Mike Kafka will play more aggressive. He will play to win instead of playing not to lose. And he will allow Shane Bowen to be more aggressive with the defense. Now, this is what I saw from Jordan Renan just now. So back in January, Mike Kafka was interviewing for head coaching jobs and he interviewed with the Saints. Okay. This is what Jordan Renan tweeted on top of that. Interesting tidbit on this. If Mike Kafka gets the Saints job, multiple league sources expect him to bring Wink Martindale as his defensive coordinator. They obviously worked together with the Giants and were key to the initial success in 2022. So that right there tells me one thing, is that Mike Kafka is not afraid to blitz. And I hope I'm right on that. I think that has to be an important part of this conversation, right? Is that's kind of your thought process, is that if they were on such good terms back in January and he was willing to bring him in as DC, he likes his philosophies as a defensive coordinator. He likes that he's aggressive. He likes that he likes to blitz. And when Wink did that in 2022, it worked for the Giants. That was the best defense that the Giants have had. It's under Brian Daboll. And then all of a sudden, we know there were issues with the two of them and all of that. But I think that's a piece of it. And I think that that's why there have not been any moves made with a defensive coordinator. So this is what I'm looking for on Sunday, is for Shane Bowen to blitz the shit out of Jordan Love and the Packers. Now, I don't expect him to all of a sudden be Wink Martindale and blitz, like 70% of the time as opposed to 3 times in one game, but I expect him to ramp it up a lot. We have not seen this team blitz a lot under Shane Bowen. It's one of my biggest gripes with him, especially with the players that he has on this team in the front four. But I really, really want to see if that changes on Sunday. So really curious to see that. That is a big thing that I'm going to be focused on during this Packers game. Okay, what else did I want to say about Daboll? The thing to me that's upsetting about the Daboll firing is that, and it's less about Daboll, it's more about how this organization is run and the way that I'm afraid it's going to continue to be run. Because it was reported, this was in the statement from Steve Tisch and John Mara, that they are the ones who had a conversation on Monday morning, and they called Joe Schoen and said, we're firing Brian Daboll. Basically, you can't do anything about it. Now, the problem that I have is that John Mara has repeatedly tried to tell us that he doesn't meddle in football decisions. Now, that is bullshit, as we have all seen, because we saw with our own 2 eyes that he told Joe Schoen on Hard Knocks not to trade Saquon. So that's a football decision, is it not? Okay. And then you make the decision without your GM. The point of the GM is that you trust them to make football decisions, like bringing in players, hiring offensive coordinators, the coach, everything like that. Okay. You trust them to do that. But that you guys are the ones who fired the head coach, not the GM. The GM wasn't even a part of it. I am not going to claim that I know what the right answer is. I don't. But I think it's very bizarre that they try to control the narrative by saying, we don't do this, we don't do that. And then they go ahead and do the exact opposite of what they just told us they didn't do. That's what I can't understand. When John Mara, when Joe Schoen and Brandon Brown are out here telling us we only play the players who are the most talented on this football team. We don't care where they were drafted. We don't care how much money they make. Okay. And yet, are you guys the one who forced Brian Daboll to keep Russell Wilson as his quarterback too, after he put his 2 feet in the ground and said it was my decision to start Jackson Dart? And luckily for him, it worked out. He obviously knew that that was the right move. So then why does Mike Kafka, an interim head coach, all of a sudden have the decision to change the quarterback roles and decide that Jameis Winston is QB2 and Russell is quarterback 3? And they're going to tell us that they don't meddle in football decisions? Look, while I think that Brian Daboll liked Russell Wilson, he said this offseason that he watched every single snap that he made. I know that Brian Daboll is in the conversations. He's obviously a big part as to what the front office does when they bring in players in free agency and when they draft guys. Again, we have seen this on Hard Knocks. We know this to be true. However, anyone with 2 eyes knew that after that Chiefs game, Russell Wilson should have been demoted, traded, or cut. Everyone. And the fact that he was still there, I give Daboll a lot of gripes. I think he's made some really bad decisions. But I am starting to think that having Russell Wilson as the quarterback too was not Brian Daboll's decision. And this is, again, the problem that I have is, why is the front office making decisions based on who should be on the field based on optics as opposed to player capabilities? It's been reported that Joe Schoen literally told Shane Bowen and Brian Daboll that they have to play Tay Banks. That has been reported. Now, I don't know if that's 100% a fact, but based on everything I just told you, it's pretty hard to believe that that's not true. So this is my problem. All of this, the way that this is going on. I know John Mara cares about winning, but at the end of the day, him, Steve Tisch, and some of the other people in the building have to put 2 and 2 together and say, I want to win, and the decisions that I have made over the last decade have led us nowhere. The only where it's led us is a lot of losing. So I am going to step out of the equation and let someone who's a proven winner and who knows what to do make these decisions. because again, it's not adding up. You say you want to win, yet you keep Dave Gettleman here for way longer than he should have been, who not only got you in cap hell, made mistakes in the draft, had horrible free agent signings. And then one of the reasons why you love Joe Schoen is because he modernized the draft and the war room. Yeah, because he's in his 40s. He's not 70 something. I don't want to hear that one of the reasons, and again, this was in their fucking letter or statement, is Joe Schoen has done a really great job of modernizing our systems and doing this and that. Again, because he's not fucking ancient. Like, it was your decision to bring back Dave Gettleman. It was your decision to bring in only people who have ever had any ties with the New York Giants. Newsflash, the New York Giants in the last 15 years have been a poverty franchise, and I fucking love this franchise. I love this team more than a lot of things in life. And as a fan, it pains me to have to root for a team who cannot get out of their own way, because we can sit here and we can talk shit about Jerry Jones, that he's a problem. Well, guess what? We also have a problem with our ownership, because they're getting involved and making decisions that are not helping them win football games. And if you are telling everyone and you are throwing chairs and you are kicking trash cans because you're so upset that you're not winning, you have to look in the mirror, because you are a part of it. And I just, for the sake of everyone, for John Mara too, I want him to be able to be in the suite and enjoy wins like the rest of us want to enjoy wins. I want to be a season ticket holder. I want to sit in the 100 levels every single week and root for this team. But I refuse to do it because I know what it's like to be a season ticket holder for this team for the last 15 years. And it's not fun. That's like the beginning of it. So anyway, so they didn't say that okay, let's get to Joe Schoen now. This is what they said about Joe Schoen, is that, again, he picked out this young core nucleus of players, and they believe that they should be playing better, and that falls on the coaches. Yes, everyone and their mother has talked about this for the last 2 years, but we're glad you're on board with the rest of us now. The second thing is that they said he is going to lead the charge for the new head coach. But what they didn't say is that they're going to extend Joe Schoen. So that gives me a little bit of optimism that they're going to see what happens for the rest of the season. But here's the thing, is you cannot have your GM, who you, as of right now, are not extending. Like, this is what I mean. Like, it's the same shit, different day. It's fucking Groundhog's Day around here. Okay, so this is what they're going to do. Let's say they don't extend Joe Schoen. They let him pick a head coach. Well, he's over one on someone that he spent years working with and that he liked and had a great relationship with and thought he was going to be a head coach. And that obviously didn't work. So you're going to try and tell me that Joe Schoen is now going to go 1 for 2 in the coaching search, and he's going to bring in the right guy as the head coach, who's probably going to be a stranger unless it's fucking Joe Brady or someone from the Bills. So that makes me feel great. Already have a lot of confidence, and that's obviously going to work out. So now let's say this. You don't extend Joe Schoen. You keep him for 1 year. It's like literally Dave Gettleman all over that. Again, okay. You keep him for 1 year. You see what the head coach does this year. Who knows? Let's say they don't win again and they have a tough season. Okay. So then what are you going to do in January of 2027? You're going to fire Joe Schoen and you're going to keep your head coach, because you can't fire a head coach after 1 year. But Joe Schoen's been here for 5 years at this point, so it's okay to fire the GM. And now, not only are you going to be forcing a head coach and coordinators, you're going to be forcing a quarterback in their 3rd year, and again, another year that could potentially be wasted of his rookie deal. It's just, and then you're gonna make the GM say, well, the GM has to approve of everyone else, or else they can't work here. What are we doing? Why are we doing the same things over and over again and not learning from our mistakes? This is what I would have done. This is what I would have said publicly to the media if they decided that they're going to let Joe Schoen stick around for the rest of the year. This is what you say. You say this very simply. We like what Joe Schoen has done thus far. We're going to see what happens for the rest of the season before we make any long-term decisions. End of story. That's it. It's that simple. You didn't have to say that he was going to lead the head coach charge, because now all everyone is thinking, well, then they're going to extend him now, and here we go again. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I think they're just kind of preparing us like, okay, Joe Schoen, is going to be back for the foreseeable future. So I'm sure that makes a lot of people feel great. It is mind-bogglingly frustrating that we are living in Groundhog's Day. And it's just like, I don't understand if, you talk about the fact that, you know, I'm sure they were very upset about the Chiefs game, very upset about the Eagles game. They're going to be horrified when they see the amount of Packers fans that are in the building on Sunday, and it's not going to get better through the rest of the season. And it's been going on for years now, where season ticket holders sell their tickets because they need to recoup some money back. And they probably are losing money most of the time. So now for the rest of the year, you're still going to have a bunch of away fans in the building, and you're going to try to sell the fan base that you're upset about where this team has gone, but yet you're not willing to completely blow it up and start all over. So now we're going to have the names that are already being put out there are 3 guys who already have ties to the organization: Steve Spagnuolo, Antonio Pierce, and Lou Anarumo. Can we go outside the box for, like, I get that it took a lot for them to go outside the box to hire Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, but you don't all of a sudden be like, well, it didn't work once, so I'm never going to do it again. Now, what I think is that you have to continue to go outside of the box because neither way worked. So why wouldn't you, instead of going the traditional way that has not worked 5 out of 5 times, let's continue on the path that maybe worked, but let's just see how it continues to go. It's just so upsetting. It's so upsetting to me. And again, like, do you not learn anything from history? I cannot get behind an organization, and I know that the Giants did not put these names out there, but I'm certain that they would probably be fine with any of them being the new head coach. We do not have to be the experimental organization for testing out every single coordinator guru and trying to make them the head coach and see if it works. It's not our jobs to be the guinea pigs. Newsflash, hasn't worked the last 4 times we did it. So why don't we bring in someone who's proven? When one of the reasons why you're firing your head coach this year and why you already did it is because this team is undisciplined. They don't look like they're ready to play. They look like they'd rather be doing anything else than playing football on Sundays. And obviously that doesn't include every player. But for some of them, it's a little scary. And they're a very young roster who needs good coaching to help take them to the next level. So why would your number one candidate not be someone who has NFL head coaching experience? We have already seen year after year how difficult it is to go from coordinator to head coach. This is not the team right now, the roster that needs someone like that. The roster needs someone with proven results, who is going to hold players accountable, who is going to teach them how to be disciplined, who is going to make sure that they don't have double-digit penalties in a single game multiple times throughout one season. And I'm not even including all the other seasons that he was the head coach. So there are a lot of things that have to be improved upon, and that comes with a head coach who has experience. So I'm excited to see Jameis Winston on Sunday. Jackson Dart is not clearing concussion protocol. It's highly, highly unlikely. So far this year alone, there have been 3 Giants players who've dealt with concussions, and not a single one of them have cleared concussion protocol before 10 days. Jackson Dart will be no different. And from what I understand, it also seems like it was a pretty tough concussion, that he did not look like himself when they got him off the field. So I think at this point, take your time, Jackson. There's no rush to come back. I know he's competitive. I know he wants to be aggressive out there, and he can't wait to be back on the field. But your brain needs to come first. And I hope that he's got good people in his life that are telling him that. And I wish more than anything that him and Cam Scadaboo would wear a goddamn Guardian cap, because they're going to have a life outside of football. And, your most players, especially at the running back position, are not playing football until they're 45. And even if they are, your 45 is about half of your life. So anyway, I want these players to be smart, and I want them to have a future after football. And that means protecting your head. So anyway, I think we're going to see, I'm excited that we're going to see Jameis on Sunday. I'm excited that they made that decision. It still concerns me a little bit that they didn't let, I think, Daboll do that. And I don't know how many games that would have changed. I don't know if it made a big difference. I still think that regardless of who the quarterback was, that Daboll continuously plays scared and he plays not to lose. And I don't really think that having Jameis in there would have completely changed everything. We know Jameis likes to throw interceptions, so it wouldn't surprise me one bit if they decided on the goal line that they're also not going to let Jameis throw the ball because it could end up in a turnover. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting either way, but I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to touch on. Kafka spoke to the media and oh, this is the other thing he said that I wanted to talk about is that they used he promoted someone to offensive coordinator. So Mike Kafka now as the head coach is still going to call plays, but he took Tim Kelly, who is the Giants tight ends coach, and he promoted him to the offensive coordinator now. Now, he does have experience as an offensive coordinator for the Titans and I believe one other team. So I think that's probably likely why Kafka made that move, because he knows that he has that experience as a coordinator already, even though for the Giants, he was just a tight end coach. He also said that Kafka said that he thinks Kelly will do a good job of helping them with the run and pass game, and that's one of the reasons why he did it. So Kafka also said that he loves Daboll, that, you know, this is the human part of the league that's tough, and that that they are good friends, and he thinks that he has done, Daboll has done a lot for him, and he wishes him well, you know, and hopes all good things for him and his family. So that was very nice. Here's what I'm expecting for Sunday. I'm expecting I don't know, be a little excited about a game and be optimistic that at least Dart is going to throw the ball as opposed to Russell, who doesn't. I also am expecting a little more aggressiveness from the defensive coordinator and from Mike Kafka. I want to see them play to win. And I know there are already Giants fans in my comments saying they should have just played Russ. We care about the draft position, blah, blah, blah. You do. Mike Kafka does not. This is Mike Kafka's audition to be the Giants head coach or a head coach for any other NFL team. He doesn't give a shit about tanking. No one in the building does. They want to win. We know this. So I know Giants fans, but like for the sake of also, I think a lot of us as fans, like if they just trotted Russell Wilson out there, I'd be like, you're all stupid. Like I don't know, should be fired for that alone because it's an asinine decision. So that was the right move. And then I believe we have an injury update from Dan Duggan. So let's go through that. And then I did just see a tweet from, from Ian O'Connor. And he is the one who said that just because John Mara said that Joe Schoen is going to be here leading the head coach search, it doesn't mean that he's going to be here for the long term. The day Brian Daboll was hired, John Mara said of hiring head coaches without previous head coach experience, it's the most difficult decision by far that you ever make in this business because you just don't know. The Giants can't hire a novice head coach again after Daboll judged McAdoo despite the good assistants available, nor can they go the Pat Shurmur or Spags route, former head coaches with sub 300 winning percentages. They need absolute certainty on this one. Someone with a winning head coach past, preferably on the NFL level, but at least at the major college level. And he has Lane Kiffin and Marcus Freeman on there. Marcus Freeman, I know, has been another name floating around. I see Lane Kiffin a lot. To me, college is not the same as the NFL. I don't care. I want someone like Tomlin, LaFleur. This is why I was pounding on the goddamn table. They should have fucking hired Vrabel, because maybe this year we would be a competitive football team instead of going through the shit that we went through last year that we could have prevented. We could have prevented this season if someone made a different decision in the front office. And here we are. John Mara said to the media, I hope we're not in the same spot this time a year from now. Well, it's been less than a year and you're in that spot where you have defenses running up and down the field on you, where you have a head coach who doesn't know how to win, you have players who don't know what the hell they're doing. It's exhausting, truly. All right, let's get to the injuries and then we're going to move on. I want to talk about a couple fantasy players and then do my week 11 picks. And then I'll be back on Friday with a preview. Okay. Injury list. Players not spotted at Mike Kafka's first practice. Dart dealing with a concussion. Slayton hamstring. Evan Neal, he has a question mark because news to us that he's injured. Nacho, Toe, Kayvon Thibodeau, question mark. Bobby Okereke, question mark. Neville Hewitt, question mark. Tyler Newman, question mark. Younghoe Koo, question mark. Graham Gano, neck. So the rest of the guys are vets. So it could be that they just have a veteran rest day. And when the injury report comes out later this afternoon, we could see that. So we'll talk about the injuries, of course, on the preview show on Friday. The other thing I wanted to say is that the Giants did sign a kicker. They signed Ben Sauls, who was perfect, 44 for 44 in his extra point attempts. He was with the Steelers last year. He's 6 for 7 on 50-plus yard field goals, and he was 21 of 24 on field goals in totality throughout his career. So now the Giants have 4 kickers. They have, I believe it's 3 on the they have 2 on the practice squad. Younghoe Koo is now on the roster, and Graham Gano is probably going on IR. So, went from 0 kickers to 4. It's insane that it's taken 2.5 years at this point to figure that out. But here we are. Better late than never, I suppose. All right, let's get to week 11 picks. The podcast is brought to you by Believe Network and FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel Sportsbook is the #1 place to make all of your sports bets. So let's go through the NFL week 11 here, and I'll give you guys the spread and the odds. Thursday night football, we got the Jets at the Patriots. The Patriots -900. Not a single soul is surprised by that. The Jets are plus 610. I do think there's an opportunity for this game to be a little bit closer than we expect, but I'm taking the Pats here. Next up, we've got the Commanders at Dolphins. The spread here is 2.5 points, where the spread between the Jets and Pats is 12.5. Wow, I think that's too much, honestly. The Dolphins are the favorite, -158, and Commanders are plus 134. Obviously, the Commanders are playing Marcus Mariota, and the Dolphins are coming off a huge win over the Bills. Major upset. Next up, Panthers at Falcons. The Falcons are the favorite, -180. Panthers plus 152. Spread is 3.5 points. I think the Falcons are coming off a very close game last week against the Colts. I think they could have some momentum here, even though I really would love the Panthers to have a bounce back game after that loss. I don't see it. Next up, let's move along to the Bengals at Steelers. The Steelers are the favorite, -230. Bengals plus 190. The spread is 5.5 points. I kind of want to take the Bengals here. Joe Flacco versus Aaron Rodgers again. I'm taking the Bengals. I think this time the Bengals, I think they close it out. I think it's going to be close again. Joe Flacco, he's got T. Higgins, he's got Jamar Chase, he's got his guys. I hope this is as exciting as the first game was. Next up, Texans at Titans. The Texans are the favorite, -355. Titans plus 285. The spread is 7 points. I'm taking the Texans here. I would like to take the Titans and Cam Ward, but I just think that team needs some figure outing to do. They also have an interim head coach, and I think next year hopefully will be better for them. Next up, Chargers at Jags. The Chargers are -156. The Jags plus 132. I really want to see the Jags win this game. I thought the Chargers were going to lose last week. They ended up pulling it out. The Jags end up pulling out a really close one. That was an exciting game. And, I don't know. I just want to root for Trevor Lawrence this year. I want it to work out for them. Parker Washington has been a great addition. I added him to my fantasy team. I like him. So let's go Jags with the upset here. The spread is 3 points. Could be close. Next up, we've got the Bucks at Bills. Bills -270, Bucks plus 220. For me, it depends on the weather for this one. I think if it's really cold, the Bills are definitely going to win this one. The spread is 5.5 points. The Bucks have disappointed me a little bit as of late. I know that they are dealing with some injury issues, and I actually was with a Bills fan the other night, and he was complaining to me all about the team and just all the issues that they're having. Obviously on defense, they've had some offensive struggles, wide receiver issues, all sorts of things. But I think this might be closer. I think it could come down to a last minute field goal. Unless it's really cold, then I'm definitely taking the Bills. Next up, we've got the Bears at the Vikings. The Vikings are the favorites, -168, Bears plus 142. Spread is 3 points. I'm going the Bears here. I think they're feeling really good after beating the Giants. There's a lot of hope in Ben Johnson. Caleb Williams was a victim to a lot of bad drops last week. I think it's unlikely that they have that many bad drops again. I'm taking Caleb Williams and the Bears. Next up, 4:06 in the 4:00 slate. We've got the Seahawks at Rams. This is going to be a hell of a game. The Rams are the favorite here, -164, and the Seahawks are plus 138. The spread is 3 points. Oof, this is going to be a tough one. I do think it's going to be really close, and I think it easily could come down to a last-minute field goal. I'm going to go with the Rams because I have a little bit more confidence in McVay. I think he's such a good head coach, and I think if it comes down to it, he's going to make the right choice and the decision and do whatever it takes to win. So I'm going with him. Something that as Giants fans, we know nothing about. Next up, we've got the Niners at Cards. The 49ers are the favorites here, minus 164, Cards plus 138. Spread is 3 points. I'm going to go with the Niners here too. Marvin Harrison Jr. had to have his appendix removed and is not going to play on Sunday. I think that's going to be a big blow to their offense. And obviously the Niners are still struggling with injuries, but I think they're going to bounce back and win this one. 426, we've got the Chiefs at Broncos. Chiefs are the favorite, minus 205. The Broncos plus 172. The spread is 3.5 points. Ugh. I really don't want to take the Broncos. I don't want to take either team, honestly. I hope it ends in a tie for my sake. But I think the Broncos are the worst 8-2 team that ever exists. I think they played one good quarter of football, and it was the fourth quarter against the Giants. And that's probably because the Giants lost that game more than anything else. And I really hate the Chiefs and I want them to lose. So let's go Sean Payton and the Broncos. God, that pains me. Next up, 426 Ravens at Browns. The Ravens are, of course, the favorite here, minus 450. Browns plus 350. Spread is 7.5. I'm taking the Ravens, but I don't think they're going to cover the spread. I don't think it's going to be 7.5 points. This team is definitely still struggling. The Browns are coming off of, look, the Jets suck. Coming off a tough game last week, but I just could see them bouncing back a little bit. The Ravens defense is still not very good. Dylan Gabriel has been okay. He's definitely been up and down, but I don't know. I just feel like divisional matchups can always be closer than you think they'll be, even if it's the Browns we're talking about. But I still think the Ravens are going to win, but would like to see the Browns put up a fight. Could be fun. Next up, Sunday night, we've got the Lions at the Eagles. Eagles are the favorite, minus 144. The Lions are plus 124. Spread is 2.5. I'm taking Dan Campbell and the Lions because I love the Lions and I hate the Eagles. So let's go Gibbs, Montgomery, all of you. Jared Goff, let's go. Monday night, Cowboys at Raiders. The Cowboys are the favorites, minus 196. The Raiders are plus 164. Spread is 3.5 points. I mean, I have to take the Cowboys here. Has anyone watched the Raiders at any point this season and be like, yeah, I think they're good enough to win this football game? Not me, that's for sure. So I think the Cowboys are going to win this. Next up, we've got, that's the last game, Monday Night Football. I'm looking at it like, why is there a November 20th game? But they're going into the following week already. Too soon. Okay, so that's it. Those are my picks for this week. Let's talk fantasy real quick. If there's one person we have to talk about, it's Jameis Winston. Obviously, here's the thing. Kafka is going to be smart about the decisions that he makes and how he runs this offense with Jameis Winston. But the reality is Winston can run and he can throw and he can also throw a deep ball. I think we're going to see a little bit more Jalen Hyatt this week. So I don't know if you need a quarterback. I would pick him up. I think he could have a good game. Next up, let's talk about Tyler Algier. I obviously picked the Falcons to win that one. He's available in 33% of leagues. He has double-digit carries in the last 5 games. He also has 2 touchdowns. And he's been used more on the goal line than Bijan Robinson. Now, I don't know why, but if you want someone who's going to score touchdowns, I think it's going to be Tyler Algier as the running back. I want to move over to wide receivers because we talked about the Colts a little bit before. I don't know if you saw that touchdown reception from Alec Pierce. The throw from Daniel Jones was an absolutely beautiful throw, something we haven't seen from him in a long time. He's available in 43% of leagues. I think he's going to continue to be a target for Jones. He's obviously able to make big plays like that and a great deep threat. Next up, Tez Johnson from the Bucs. He's available in 33% of leagues. The Bucs are obviously dealing with a lot of injuries, but the Bills defense sucks, quite frankly. So I don't know. I just feel like Tez Johnson could be a big pickup here. He scored 4 times in 5 weeks, and him and Baker Mayfield have a really good rapport. Next up, Dalton Schultz from the Texans. He's available in 35% of leagues. Outside of Nico Collins, there's no real deciphered wide receiver 2 on this team. And in the past 4 games, he's caught 24 passes. So he obviously has a bigger target share. And he's had 32 targets over those few weeks. So I think Dalton Schultz could be a good option if you need a tight end. So that's all I got for you guys in this episode. On Friday, we're going to preview Giants versus Packers with Jameis Winston as our quarterback. We've got Mike Kafka as our head coach. We've got Tim Kelly as our OC. And I'm excited to see if there's any sort of changes. Like I said, the number one thing I want to see from this team as a whole is be aggressive, be aggressive. Shane Bowen, Mike Kafka, Tim Kelly, let's go. See you guys on Friday. Thanks for listening.